Yo, 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 what up with it? What up with it? Yo, we about to get right up into it. So, Jason Lee, Charleston Wright was on a Jason Lee talk show or whatever. I forgot the name of it. Joint man, forgive me for that. But via Coach JB Big Smitty, and we gonna get up into that, man. You know what I mean? We gonna get right up into that joint real quick. So let me get my jumbotron up, and then we go get this video pulled up. You know what I'm saying? Get this video pulled up for y'all. Let me get it big. So let me get it big for y'all so y'all can see it while I'm playing it. And then I'll react.
Smitty, handle this. I got to take this call. I'm dealing with a bunch of drama right now for the studio. Take this call right now, but play this Real Talk with Jaw Jack, and I want you to
I got it. Put me on the screen. Real Talk with Jaw Jack, and go ahead and play it.
So, but you commented on black murder, which I don't believe black on black crime is a thing. Do you believe it's a thing? Yeah. Why do you believe black on black? Because some would say it's all based on proximity.
Show me where the Jews killing each other. Show me where the Asians going to jail for murder. And they got Asian gangs. Mm-hmm. Show me where there's a big population of Asians in California. There are Asian Crips, Asian Bloods, Asian gang. Show me where a big population of Asians in jail. Mm-hmm. You can't. Show me a big population of white people killing white people. You can't. But this is a country of guns.
Well, only when they go in school and shoot up kids and say it's not terrorism.
But they classify that as a mass shooting. Mm-hmm. They classify ours as gun violence, but it's mass shooting because mass people are being shot in one instance. But they don't classify ours as mass shooting.
Well, where do you think that comes from, though? Because, again, I'm not one to say everything goes back to white people, but lack of investing
it comes back to us because they see we don't care. If we cared if we cared the same about black people shooting black people that we did police shootings, then they would respond to black shootings the way they do police shootings. They try to give us resources and they try to find alternative solutions after a police shooting occurred. They literally put everything on hold. Come on, we got to hear from our blacks. But that's only during a police shooting. Then we act like nothing else bothers us but police shootings. Only thing that bothers black people in America is a white police officer killing a black person. Other than that, nothing bothers us because we don't cry, we don't complain, we don't march, we don't ride, and we don't tear up shit until that happens. So why would anybody care about that? They don't.
He said a lot right here. The last part about us caring more when it's a white police officer killing one of our own versus our own community killing our own. I do think there's some truth to that. You know, you can look at you look at the facts and look at the history of, just different shootouts and killings within our community, whether it's in Chicago, you hear about Chicago a lot. All over the country. You don't get the same uproar within our community as we do with, a police officer. The only counter to that, though, is that obviously all killing is bad, of course. So we feel, we don't feel good about any of it. But I think the reason why it's a little bit more of an uproar when it comes from the cops, because the cops are supposed to be there to protect and serve. So you don't expect the person who's supposed to be the hero to be the person murdering you. Whereas, in your own communities, when you're growing up in poverty and you're just in the midst of just, kind of this crabs in a barrel mentality where everyone's just at the bottom trying to make to the top, and you're only kind of thinking about you and yours and in those environments and those communities, it's like you don't really have an expectation of like what your peer or what your neighbor should or shouldn't do. You don't look at them as the protectors or heroes or the people that's supposed to come and protect and serve you. There's a different expectation when it comes to a police officer or a cop. So I think when that happens, like, damn, like the superhero of the community, the Superman of the community who's supposed to look out for us is killing us, and doing it when it's unnecessary. And then you see the same situation happen or very similar situation happen when it's a white person and it don't happen or it don't end in death. And I think that's why there's such an uproar. But to his last point, though, as a black man, I agree. We need to put more effort in attention to our own crime and issue within our own community. And you know, I can't remember the host name. I'm having a brain fart, but the host started to slowly, you know, allude to it. There's so much that goes into the why behind this, though. And we had this conversation a while back with Jeff Nadeau, and I didn't have a chance to fully go into it because there's so much like backstory that goes into the why there's black on black, you know, crime and killing. One, proximity, that's the obvious thing. But beyond that is the fact that
okay, I'm gonna let you. I advise y'all to go and watch the whole episode of Big Smitty and them. I think he killed it. You know what I mean? I think Big Smitty got into a lot right there. I'm gonna let y'all finish off because this is a reaction. So I mean, I probably played over the allowed time anyway, but it was a lot of valuable information, and I didn't want to seem like I was trying to cut him off at a certain part or anything like that. But so I noticed I heard Jason Lee say something like the lack in investing in our community. He went around for like mayor or something out there in California. We got so many black millionaires, right? And a lot of these rappers or whatever else, like a lot of them aren't investing in our communities. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you got people that, you know, who made it and they're millionaires or they got millions of dollars or a couple million, and these politicians know them, and when they're not trying to invest in their own areas and neighborhoods, why should they? You know what I'm saying? Why should they do it if they're not going to? Think about that. And then, like, I can't agree what he was talking about with like the police being the hero. And the reason of being is because we were taught police etiquette at a young age. At a very young age, police etiquette. Like I could remember literally being in like 4th or 5th grade, and my mom taught me how to react and how to do things when the police are around. You know what I'm saying? And in certain instances, we were taught to just run away from them. So that's why you get a lot of, you know what I'm saying, young black men running away from cops too, because you never know what's going to happen because of the history of that. So I don't agree with that, because there was now by all means, there is good officers. There is good officers. The officers that used to come to like our community day cookouts and stuff. We used to have like community days and all of that. And it was ran by some cops, and they give you the little junior police badges. And those particular officers were known as the cool officers. However, there wasn't the whole department that was there in the neighborhood. So if you didn't see that cop, then you thought something was up. And that's just the truth. And when it comes to accountability, we can't hold each other accountable. That's a problem in real life and online. Like, so if you're trying to hold somebody accountable, and by all means, you really can't do that online. But if you're trying to hold your neighbor accountable for their child, because their child was throwing rocks, they having a rock battle, and they broke your window in your car, and you decided to yell at your neighbor's kid, that could turn into some kind of altercation right then and there, because it's not the same as it used to be. If you tell them to get home, it's too late for you to be out. How old are you? Where's your mom at? You know what I'm saying? That could turn into an altercation. Manage your business, whatever else might go on. You know what I mean? And if somebody is doing something wrong and you try to tell them about themselves, that could turn into an altercation. We can't do that amongst each other without there being a problem. I have no idea why that is, but there is a lot of us out here that you can do that with. But then when that happens, if I was doing something and if I was in the wrong, and my neighbor, another black man, told me, "Hey, brother, like why is you doing that?" Other people will look at that and be like, "Oh, he punked him." Like, he punked, like why does it have to be that? Why do it gotta be you got punked or you got cowered out or something like that? There's a stigma with that. So with that same stigma that these young men got, then they can't compartmentalize between the difference between that. They gonna go and they gonna retaliate in a harsher way, right? And then another thing with violence out here is just pure revenge. You know what I'm saying? Now somebody's cousin might have got killed that was out in the streets, but meanwhile his cousin could have been in college and he got his gun license or something, but he's gonna feel some kind of way that some dude that killed his cousin is still walking the streets. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody gonna say nothing about that. I mean, you can't get in between what goes on in the streets anyhow. But he may feel some kind of way and may want to get revenge, and that just never stops, right? That cycle just never stops. It don't. But one thing I can say is that when you in the streets, you in the streets. There's a whole, and when you're not, you're not. But there's a whole snitching thing. Like, how could, if you're not in the streets and somebody is, these gangsters, as you want to call it, or thugs, whatever they want to do, whatever floats your boat, floats your boat. But if you go and do something, you got to make sure that it's not involving somebody who go to work every day. So somebody that's driving Uber gets robbed and killed by some street person, and if somebody told that's snitching, I mean it is. But come on, like there used to be codes to certain things. No women, no children. People didn't really mess with people who work jobs to rob them. Like if you rob somebody that was working, it probably was a problem. But then, you know what I mean? Like there was certain code, and there's none of that no more. And that's because, and a lot of that got to do with us older cats out here. Like, to be honest, we failed a lot of them. We failed a lot of them because if I get out here and I really tried to talk to the youth in such a way, you know what I mean? People gonna always have something to say, but then there's the lack of support of that too. Nobody's gonna support that movement. Don't nobody want to hear that. There's probably mad people on this video right now that probably already clicked off like, I ain't trying to hear that, because there's no drama in that. There's no altercations. There's no drama. I'm not talking about pulling a drill on somebody. So therefore, that's just the society we live in today. So really, you just got to do whatever it is that you want to do, and never mind what other people think about it. But there is things in our community that needs to stop, and we need to hold our own. We need to hold our own neighborhoods together, because there's value in our neighborhoods. Definitely is, because Black people spend the most money. Am I wrong? They spend a lot of money. Gucci, Louis, like, you know what I mean? Balenciagas, all kind of M&Ks, whatever it is that floats your boat. You want to buy it, you want to wear it. Don't even know the person beside you, but you don't want to support the person across the street that makes clothes, that makes shoes. There's plenty of, I done seen so many guys online that make shoes and everything else. They don't get support, probably not even from their own family members. So, I mean, or from whoever else. We always say, oh, let's support each other up until it's time to support each other. But there's definitely value in our neighborhoods, because look, they're getting gentrified and they're getting and they're upcharging the areas. It's prime. It was prime. But we didn't see that. There's a whole problem. And even if I wanted to come out here and start a whole movement, how many people will really support me in that? You need support with that. People, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it because probably it don't benefit them. It don't get them enough clicks. It don't get them enough likes. There's a whole bunch of reasons why things may not work in today's world, or however it goes, because of stigmas, because, you know what I mean, names, or however that goes. But it's definitely, when you say Black on Black crime and white on white crime, like, I don't know why they say Black on Black, because there has been white people are killed by white people. No, that's just the propagandas. That's just a way of, classifying and making people that's not from the country afraid of Black people. So when they come over here, they think one way about Black people. That's it. That's just how that goes. And it's the truth. It's the truth. But why, you know what I mean? I can't answer for some of why white people or Caucasians kill each other. I don't know why that happens. But I know one reason why we can't grow is because there is a line of divide between all races. But at the end of the day, you do see you see Asians, you see Middle Easterns, you see them all. They mess with all of us. They talk to all of us, though they got friends with all of us. But when it comes down to it, they're about their communities. And the same thing for I could say like Puerto Rican Spanish, like they stick together. For some reason, we are one of the only communities that don't stick together. We are like it, and there's a multiple reasons why, and I named a few of them. But if you think you can name more, then you let me know down in the comments, and we could continue the conversation, because this is a conversation to really get into, because this is real. There's a lot of things to unpack in this, and I'm glad that things like this are starting to be brought to the light, and that people are paying more attention to conversations like this, because these are conversations that need to be had. But we really cannot hold each other accountable. It's always a problem. It's definitely a problem when you do that. It's definitely a problem. You either sweep it under the rug. If you got a big enough name, you can sweep it under the rug, and people will always have that person's back, or whatever it is, whatever the case may be. Or maybe me, myself, or you yourself get angry at that person for trying to hold you accountable and trying to have those conversations as men. Like, that don't happen no more, especially when you got a crowd involved, when you got a crowd of people involved. And when you're trying to hold your brother accountable, that's why it's best to do that one-on-one, because when you got a crowd around, it turns into a spectacle, a type of moment. You know what I mean? And instead of it being a real conversation between you and another man, because 9 times out of 10, when you just sitting there and you talking to another man in his face, and I don't care how gangster they are, how hard they is, the conversation, you're gonna leave. They're gonna leave with a better respect for you and a better understanding of you, and you the same, vice versa. Rather than being people around and you're trying to talk to that person, either they're gonna try to say, "Oh, you think you're smarter than that person," or they punked you, and people always got something to say. So then, when there's an audience, it never turns out well. It never turns out well. And prime example, I was the prime example of that just yesterday, to be honest, online. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to bring it up, but look, it's a perfect example. Me and Dalvin, the truth. You know what I'm saying? A social media guy. He's big out there. He's real big in doing social media on X. And he was talking to me about something I might say about Prime, but had me and him talked about it, we probably would have been able to leave with a better understanding of what's going on, no matter how much he disagreed with whatever I was doing and how much I disagreed with what he was saying. We probably would have left that conversation totally different and peacefully, rather than being a spectacle for everybody else that was there following that. You dig? And that's the prime example of what goes on out here. And it's just it's a sad thing to do, and for things to go a certain way, but it is what it is out here, man. And it all starts with us. But the only thing that we really can do, honestly, is make sure that we keep in our households intact. And if we're really teaching that in our households, then why is it that people is acting different in a different light if we are teaching that at home? Because I know I am. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what people say or people think, like, your 2 things can be true. And I honestly, that's a fact. That's a fact. And I ain't just get that from Smitty. Like, he shout out to Smitty because he always using that line, but definitely 2 things can be true. You can feel this way about something and also understand that things are this way and explain that. But people, look, man. But I'll say it one more time before I get on up out of here. We definitely was taught police etiquette. Not all cops was heroes. It's a shame. But yes, that is the only thing that uprises. Like, when our youth is out here killing our own, we don't care. There's no more marches. There's no more none of that. We all can barely come together in as any setting and work together and network together and build together. It's a shame, but it is. I don't know why that is, man. But to keep the conversation going, man, y'all get down in the comments, man. This is a real conversation. I would love to continue this. Love to keep answering the questions, man. So it is what it is out here, y'all. Y'all already know how I'm giving it up. I gotta go, man. I gotta get to my baby's gang. Appreciate y'all tuning in for the 20 minutes, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, get down in the comments, man. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Y'all know how Track and Chubby be giving it up out here, man. Roll the video. Y'all see the before, you see the after.